Morning and welcome to Grace and Lottie's. Elizabeth here, ready to get started on today's. I've already got it open to our page. Just a reminder, we're in Twilight Gardens. This is a book by Maria Trolley. Right here, we're doing, today we're gonna be working on these leaves and these flowers up here. Probably gonna stay in this area because it'll be easy to just do one focus and zoom in. I've pulled some of the colors down here so that we can see them. They're a little off camera. I'm going to scoot up. I wanted to have the picture in color or in focus there when we came on. Got some different purples that are in my Koh-i-noor set. We're using the Koh-i-noor poly colors for the most part today. Also have a Prismacolor white here to blend. I don't think I'm going to use it today, but I always have it on standby just in case. I'm looking at something like this needs it. So this one is a just in case, not planning on it. Hello, Mia's Life. Welcome. So got the Mountain Blue. This one I really like blending with in these just because I think it helps give it the fun, bright, vibrant Twilight effect. Right here, it's number 57 in the set. So that's why that's there with the purples and my little blender right here as well. Over to my side, I do have my sheets that I use to double check colors. Always a good idea to swatch your pencils so that you know what you have and what they look like when you actually lay down, because sometimes what's in the core and what's on the outer edge do not match up with what actually looks like on the paper. So it kind of helps you get to know your pencils as well as then have a reference to go back and say, this is the color I want, so that you can pick a little more easily. Let's go ahead and zoom on in here. Sorry for the bounce. My tripod likes to bounce. Yeah, I think that's gonna work great right here, because we've got the flower, the leaf, and then the other leaf. I'll probably scoot down just a little bit because it'll be easier to work on this one versus working in the crack when we get to that point right there. So hopefully we'll get all those done, and then that will have the birds left for next week. And so we're gonna fly through this one, maybe done in 4 or 5 parts versus the normal like 6 or 7, which is exciting to get to that point. If you followed along last week, we did work on the fronds right in here as well as putting in the blue stems. And I only work on just a little bit of it and then do the repeats off camera, and then I will post that on Instagram so that you can see what it looks like completely finished, just because since it is such a repetitive process, you're not having to sit here and watch hours of footage of the same thing over and over again. We get done what's covered, and then you can work at your own pace on the rest of it. Hello, Lukido, I can't talk, 2003. Welcome this morning. I have been up since the crack o' dawn. My daughter started school this morning, and so we had to leave the house. Why didn't you finish it? I finished the fronds and the blue last week. So what I do is I just do different parts each week. So, and then I post what's finished online so that you guys can see all of the repeated pieces. So that's how I work with this live stream. So let's see here. Gonna grab my blue violet first. That's number 14. I'm just gonna come in right over here on the flowers, right on the bottom. I'm just gonna come in and do a nice deep petal in here in the middle, nice and dark. Then I'm gonna, with the light pressure, just kind of follow up the line in the middle. Staying on one side of it. Guess I know how to draw. I've got a drawing that I just finished yesterday. You can look over on my Instagram, my succulent, right there. So it's like 99% finished. So I just got like the little finishing touches. So excited to have that finished. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with a firmer in the middle and then going lighter as I go out to the edges. These. I'm going to follow, even though she didn't take the line out all the way, I'm going to get right here. And the same on this one. Firmer towards the middle and then working my way lighter. The pressure. Thank you, Mia. I appreciate the compliment. So next, I'm wanting to keep this violet shade more in the cool category versus the warm violet. And Koh-i-noors aren't as great with staying in the cool. Most of their purples to me tend to go more towards the warm category. I'm gonna pull out Windsor Violet next, which is number 50. Right here, so we started with 14, going to 50. And this is where the, just real light with this one. This is where that mountain blue is gonna come in really handy in a minute, because it will help cool it down from the warm purple. So I'm using super light pressure with this one. Mainly because this is going to be more of kind of a transition shade. Hoping to blend it together. Not so much as another shade or color brought in. And then lastly, and this is where I was debating, because all of the light purples here, they go really, really warm. So I'm gonna take the regular violet and just go in really, 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 really ultra super lightly. Okay. It is fun. I enjoy being live. I think it's kind of fun to get to know everybody. You know, beyond just Instagram photos and that way. You see this just super duper light on this. I really wanted these to be kind of like a gray lilac shade. That's how I pictured them. Get good coverage on this. There we go. Now, in with that mountain blue that I talked about, number 57. I'm going to use this kind of like a blender pencil shade here as I come up. Slightly firmer pressure with this one. I'm not pushing hard, it's just slightly firmer pressure. I'm going to come back in with that first violet and deepen that line just a little bit more. It's always easier to come back in and make lines darker than it is to lighten them. So I'm going to err on one side. I will err to that side every single time. Today is my first live stream in a while with the kids all in school again, so it's nice that I'm not having to be mom and live stream at the same time. I don't know if you have children, if they're back in school, you know, just that feeling of getting back into your routine. My daughter, because our boys went back to school beginning of August, beginning of the month. And our daughter has been home. And she's been painfully bored the past couple of days. I'm gonna put this down here too, so give a little more shape. Leaves, or the petals. This is super light pressure. Mm-hmm. Your daughter starts next week. We have some friends who their school doesn't start until next week here, and their daughter is really getting bored. Going in with blender now, just bring it all together, and you'll watch the blue kind of come out a little bit more. And then blend it in. And what I'm doing is I'm going from the darker to the lighter to pull that darker a little bit more in. And make my colors a little more vibrant. Bring it around. There we go, that's the basics of a flower started right there. You see how it looks on the screen here real quick. I've got to wait for that to catch up. There we go. One of the steps that I like to do with these is I'm going to come back in at the end with my stabilo markers, and so I will be putting in a little bit more color in the shadow areas so that it'll give a little more dimension at the end. So I'm not too worried about making sure it's ultra dark right now, knowing that that step is still to come. I like doing it on top of my crayon or my pencils just because it helps me know it's not going to bleed through. I tested on this paper and I haven't found much bleed through with my water-based markers, but just to be careful now, because I'm putting it on top of an oil-based pencil, I have to be careful because it will smudge. I have to make sure it has time to dry and set, but it does work. I've done it on a couple of my books now, and I'm really liking the way that technique turns out. Yeah, just have to be careful that I don't smudge it. Okay, so let's go back, 14. A little bit of color to put in right there. As notice, I missed, oh, I came in, missed a little bit of a spot right there. It's like somebody's getting a delivery today. I'm in the middle here. And now because I know that I did it on the last one, I'm going to go ahead and come up through there too. Because I know that will be a step on the next one. Because my color color palette really doesn't have, the yellow is being placed very carefully on this. I'm not going to be doing yellow middles on this, but a yellow dot in the middle against this purple gives a great contrast. Just FYI. This won't work for this particular color scheme that I'm working this time. Actually, I'm going up the correct side here. There we go. Now to go to 50 again. Super, super light. Hear playing right now. I don't know if you can hear. Oh, my dog hears the plane. Just got a little woof out of her. And now the straight up violet. She's fidgeting now. The puppy is awake. She was napping very sweetly on the couch. Okay, next step. Next one, the mountain blue again. Another neat way to kind of add in some dimension when you're at the end is with your white gel pen. You can add in little highlights as well in the brighter areas. It's a windy day. You can hear my wind chimes outside. Nice to hear those. I'd love to know how everybody's weekend went and week. Did you do anything fun and exciting? My excitement consisted of school uniform shopping. Not everybody's favorite. Another little violet flower done. One more over here, and then we'll do the stem right there. I'm realizing this one doesn't have a leaf. to show how I'm going to do the purple leaf with this. So I may have to go up to the top for a moment and do the leaf up there. Doing great on time. Double checking my time. This morning, just because of getting up a lot earlier, because we had to be at her school at 6:30 this morning, already feeling like, okay, it has been a full day because I've already been up and at it for 4 hours, like actually out and working, not just in bed waking up with my coffee. So let's see here, the line's going that way. We're gonna come this way with this one. There we go. And the next one. Sometimes keeping track of which side's getting shaded is a little tricky, and I have to like figure out, okay, which one's going. I don't think it would matter if I did the wrong one. Not a ton. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Let's put it that way. And if needs be, there's always the handy dandy eraser to pull out. So what coloring books what coloring books are everybody working in? Is that right, or is? Neither sounds right. Let me know what coloring books you are working in right now. That sounds grammatically correct. Because I was working so hard to work on my succulent, this is all, like, I've been working in my books to do, and I'm gonna do a kind of a free-form pen and ink with watercolor to break it up next. I've had that ready in my mind just because it's like, oh, I'd love to be able to just sit and create shapes and doodle. So that's my next project. Maybe I'll record some of it and put up that whole process because I think it's a lot of fun. Super relaxing, can't really mess it up. It's looking a little flat, so I'm probably going to come back in. I'm going to grab my darkest one and add a little bit more. This is looking like all the same color. Just the pressure I put down, so come back in, add a little bit more. 14 right here. Deepen that up just a little bit. Here we go. I'm going to do that on all of these real quick. Add a little more dimension. I'm liking the way that looked. my wind chimes are just going nuts out there today. Real nice to hear. There we go, a little more dimension now in those flowers. Are you working in Johanna Basford's? Which one? I'm curious. I know she's been talking about her new flower book that's coming out. And I think I'm going to get that one. I haven't bought a new book in a while, and I think that's going to be the one I buy, so. There we go. I'm gonna come in with the blender. Blend, 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 blend. There we go. There are those guys done. Put a little more blue in this one. There we go. Bring out that blue. Okay, so let's get those started right there. Now, the stems are a little more, they don't require as much. I was gonna say they're a little more boring. They really don't require nearly as much work to do. Just because it's a nice bold stem. So I'm only gonna be using, oh, I wanted 14. Where'd you go? I grabbed the wrong one. 14's a little bit deeper. And I'm just doing a one color. And a dark to light. Now I'm going to use that mountain blue. Pull it in together with these guys. Bolder stem here. Right there. Same with these little buds. This is just simple gradient on here. See, I'm putting in really nice firm pressure. Down at the base, and then going lighter and lighter and coming in with the blue. There's your basic 2-color transition and fill right there. Hello, Benjamin. Decided to join us. Just looked up and saw that. He's up at the coffee shop right now, just up the street. This in just a little bit more. Okay, there we go with those flowers right there. Now I'm gonna move my book so we can go up to that leaf, since this didn't have a leaf, and there's only 2 of these leaves on the entire page, so there's not a ton of them to worry about. The ones that go with this one follow right along the crack, so those are a lot of fun to try to get in there and get those done. But scoot down. Let's hope that that's in frame. Right there. Wait and see. Actually gonna scoot up just a hair. And that should have us. I have a lower, I have a longer latency on this so that the picture comes out cleaner, so it takes me a second for it to catch up in real time so that you guys get the best picture possible, because it's more important than it being 100% exactly live. Okay, so 14, our darker purple right here. I'm gonna move that. Swap my pencils here, so I've got the ones I'm using close and easy. So there's a couple of ways you can do the leaves, because they have all the little bits and pieces right there. You can choose to do each individual little section, or you can choose to do the whole leaf and let that be a drawing in the texture. Either way works. There's not one necessarily right way, it's just the way that you want it to look. Because this already has a black background, and I went pretty busy by doing these individual little pieces in the fern, as well as I'm going to be doing the feathers on the birds. I'm not going to do the individual sections just because I want to kind of simplify the look, especially the black background. It's going to be, there's a lot already going on the page, and I don't want to make it a little more cluttered, if that makes sense, with the way I'm doing it. So I'm just gonna kind of go around the outer edge. We're gonna do on this one. It's gonna like glow in the middle. I'm pushing pretty firm. Get a nice edge right there on it. I'm not going to shadow too much because my next shade is going to still be coming in that area. If in the end I feel like it needs it, I can always do that with the Stabilo markers at the end, coming back and looking at it and say, okay, it needed just a teeny bit more. Okay, this is the same color pathway I used on the flowers. Next, going in with the violet. You need to see how much color is coming out in that up here. Now with the blue violet, or not the blue violet, the mountain blue, get my right shade. It's interesting is I used a lot of mountain blue on the petal or of the flower that's right there, because I'm going over the purple, even though it's the same shade, it has a different feel to it. Now one little subtle thing I'm doing on this is I'm making the top I'm pressing a little bit more firmly up here on the top so that it looks like there's light kind of coming a little bit more from this bottom side. Kind of makes your leaf have a little bit of shape when you do it that way. Blender pencil now. Bring all of these beautiful colors together. And that's the simple leaf for the purple flowers right there. Nothing super complex. I love, just the fact that I'm letting the veins sit on their own versus trying to do all of those individual areas on this one. I didn't feel like it was gonna add to the piece a whole lot to do them individually. We'll be looking at the same thing over here with these leaves as well. I want them to really glow and pop. And I'm gonna be doing those in like really deep blues too. So that's gonna be fun because these leaves, I was originally gonna do these purple, but then I realized that they went with the blue flowers that are here, and I'm like, oh, those leaves need to be blue. But I want the birds to be blue as well. And so I'm thinking about different color pathways for that blue. And because these are gonna be more of a sky blue, so we're gonna go dark blue with these so that still have some interest in the piece without them all being the exact same shades, but keeping it interesting. So I need my dark blue, which is right here. That's number 19. I'm gonna grab also, where's the other one I want? I'm gonna grab my cobalt blue, which is number 17. Crazy thing is right now I have them all in a 10 because I pulled them out of my folder so I could find them easily. There's number 17, cobalt blue, and then there's a cobalt dark, number 54, which will help bring those guys together really well. There it is. Found that one pretty quick. And then permanent blue, right here. It has like the prettiest shade on the outside, and that is a really nice dark blue, and that's what we'll be using for the shadowing or to really get in deep with these on this. So I'm gonna go in right here, again using and depending, we may pull this mountain blue back in as well. So I have that on standby right now. So let's go ahead and grab this permanent blue first, number 14. I'm gonna scoot up just a little bit in the frame so you can see a little better. And we're gonna start with this leaf right here. And I'm starting on the edge. I need to sharpen this one because I'm gonna need to make this a pretty firm line. my tip's not quite sharp enough for that line. There we go. Nice sharp tip. My goal is that this will kind of make it look like it's appearing out of the background a little bit. With this super deep shade around the outside. Here's an interesting question. What was the first coloring book you bought? My first one was just a quick grab at a craft store, and it wasn't necessarily one of those that's like by a particular artist, you know, it's just kind of like the little magazine style one that you can get. And I did a ton in that book. There's my first shade down. Now this is going to disappear quite a bit when I move into my next one, which is going to be the fading. Let's see, hold on here real quick. Next one's going to be dark blue, right here, number 19. A nice sharp point on this. I'm going super light and a little firmer towards the edge. Really. And this dark blue is such a pretty shade. One of my favorite blues. I have it in my watercolors as well, because I like the 24 set of the watercolor in these, and they are color matched, which is fun. I find myself using that a lot when I'm doing things, kind of drawn to that shade. And back in, going a little firmer around the edge here. Just going to bring it in just a little bit further. And super light. Giving myself a little bit more of a transition area to blend with. There we go. Next, Cobalt Dark, which is 54. It's not going to look a lot different than what I just laid down. Just using it as another transition to the next shade. And now in with my Cobalt, which is right here, number 17. we did on the leaf up there, right here. I'm not going to do that on the other side. Start on the edge now. Okay. Just keep slowly building up the color. There we go. It's in with that. Now time for the mountain blue. Making sure that this side's a little darker than this side. Okay, now we're ready for the blender. Bring all these lovely shades together. There's one side. Blend the other side. That dark blue really comes alive under the blender. Now this leaf, because of its size, is a great one to just take a white line when you're done. And rather white line with your gel pen when you come back in. And don't follow right in here because the sun would actually hit, light would actually hit here. So you follow right there with it to put in a highlight on there, just FYI. So on that, that's where that would go. So that's a pretty simple leaf right there. Now we're gonna move on over to the one other leaf that's on this one, and we are almost out of time. So I'm gonna do the small one, and I'm gonna actually move over and work in the crack for you guys so you can kind of see some of the ways I work in this area because it isn't easy to do necessarily. And we're gonna be working in some of the shades that came out when we were working on flowers. So that was back in the very first one. And so that's got this beautiful Bordeaux red right here, number 8, as well as we're going to use the red violet, which is number 12, right here with it. They look very different from the outer barrel, but when you swatch them, you can see this is the light violet right there, and that's the Bordeaux red, and so they actually blend really well together. Just an unexpected combination. So again, another plus for why you should put in swatches. And then we're going to use this one. We're going to keep this one simple just because most of these leaves are in very difficult spots to get into. The only one that's not is over here, and I'm saving that one for another post later. So we'll be working here, and we'll get to look at how to work in a crack. So starting first with a Bordeaux red, following the same technique I've done on the other leaves, where I'm just going to go the outer edge with this. Just look how beautiful. This Bordeaux red, it's one of, I use this shade a ton. I just think it's a really pretty color to work with. Notice what I'm doing is when I go around the edge, I do like a straight line, and then I come in my little teeny tiny circles to help blend it in. And I'm going to do all of the areas that aren't in the crease first. And we'll come back to the crease. I'll show you why in just a second. Okay, so the reason why I didn't do the crease just a second ago is I find that to get really in there, I want my pencil like crazy sharp. And that's the easiest way to get as deep in there as I can go. So I'm just coming right along. I find that it's pretty forgiving working in there to your finished product, just because you end up, when it pops back up, it doesn't show too many of your mistakes in there. So if you get a little bit out of where you originally wanted it, it'll be okay. The big thing is just to get color in there, because the white is going to show. White will show glaring on this. I mean, you'll be like, woo. But if you get in there, and now look at that beautiful red violet coming in, or this is light violet, sorry. I find that the red violet is actually, to me, looking a little bit less red than the regular violet. So. We're going to play color theory in just a second. I'm going to pull one more shade out. Now that I'm seeing it lay down on the paper. Okay, I'm going to come back in there in a minute. Try to get in over here. Sharpen her up. Let's get in there. There's a dog barking outside. I'm surprised my dog stayed asleep through it. Expected her to pop right up. She is still snoozing. So next I'm gonna go ahead and grab, I've got this one polycolor and it is light magenta and it comes out a little bit more, it's a little more purpley with it. So I'm gonna use this and use the beauty of color theory in just a second, just the most light layer here. This will make sense in just a second. In those little areas right there and down here. Now I'm looking at this leaf and realizing that this one I can add in just a teeny bit more dimension right here. I'm going to do that because I got a couple of parts going on. Nothing crazy. Just adding a little bit more depth on that one. Right there, so that now that top part kind of sticks out a little bit with it. Now the reason why I put that pink down is because now I'm going to come in with the mountain blue again. And because I have the pink down, it's going to go to a little bit more purple, you know, and blue makes purple. And this is, as you see, just going to kind of cool it down just a little bit. A little bit of Twilight glow. Okay, now I'm going to use my blender to bring it all in. We're going to get all this nicely blended. Oh, I need to get in that little air, skipped that one. Go back and grab it in just a second. Trying to get in these little crevices, always an adventure. And that has it for today. There's going to be a lot of coloring that's going to happen off camera for this one because we've got the other 3 pieces, so we've only got the birds left for next week with the birds, and then because I'm just working with the birds, we'll probably get into some of the fun of doing the embellishing that comes at the end. This piece does get at the end a little bit of whatchamacallit, I've just totally blanked on the word. It gets some of my pastel done to make these glow, and so we'll be going through how to do that glow once we get there. So that is it today. So this And this, so it's gonna look totally different in the Instagram once I get all that color filled in. So be watching for that. I'm also gonna do some pictures showing how I did each one of these little things, and I'll hopefully get those up today as well, and then the finished tomorrow. With that is my goal. Hopefully that is what it will be. So thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as click the bell icon there for a notification so you can know when new videos come up. So once you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram's the best place to see what's going on. I'm at Grace and Lottie, so you can catch me there. Remember, art happens in everyday life. Make sure you're watching for it.